Hey guys, it's Sam, and in honor of Tome Topple, which is the readathon about big books that I created that starts today, it's in round 9. In honor of that, I'm going to be talking about some of my past Tome Topple favorites. I was feeling my inspiration well a little dry. I was feeling like my inspiration well for videos was a little dry, so I actually asked Instagram what they would like to see, and Joey Maskey, I don't actually know how to say Joey's name, even though we've done a buddy read together. He actually suggested this video, so I thought that was a great idea because I got a chance to go back to old Tome Topples and see like which books I read during those periods that I really liked. And there was a lot of books that I didn't like, and there were some favorites that were during Tome Topple. So I'm going to talk briefly about some of those. The very first Tome Topple I did was maybe one of the best Tome Topples because both books were two new favorite books for me at the time. That was back in 2016. The first one was the Wall of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which is the second book in the original Mistborn trilogy. Now with Mistborn, I just kind of view the whole trilogy as like one complete package, but this was definitely a new favorite when I got into it. I think it's my least favorite of the three books, but it was a favorite during Tome Topple, and it was like very kind of unexpected because it is so different from the Final Empire, but then when you get to Hero of Ages, it just wraps everything together so beautifully. So this was a favorite. And Brandon Sanderson does show up a couple times within Tome Topples. I tend to just reach for his books during Tome Topple, apparently. The second book that I read during that very same Tome Topple was Akimov by Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I've actually talked about again fairly recently, but I still really love this book. Like, this book kind of sticks as a favorite, even though like I don't like her other books. I'm bitter that I like this book. It has like Hades and Persephone themes to it. I like their relationship. I like the Night Court. I like so many things about this, and I read this as like a standalone. Like, I've reread this before just to be like, this is it. This is all I want. It's just this book, even though it's part of a series. So I do plan on continuing with this series when this series continues, but like this book is still like, yes, it's one of my favorites and I'm mad about it. Then around in August of 2017, which I can't even believe it's been this long since I've read this series, I read The Invasion of the Tierling by Erika Johansen, which is the second book in the Queen of the Tierling series, whatever it's called. I desperately want to read the last book. I just don't own it right now. Story of my life. I'll probably ask for it for Christmas, honestly, because I do want to finish up this series. I loved this book. This series is so polarizing because it's a fantasy series, but the main character some people call like unlikable. It also kind of spins the genre a bit in a way that I think some people won't like, but to tell you how it's done is sort of a spoiler I don't want to do because I didn't know about it going in, and it's a thing that I like but some people wouldn't like. So I really enjoyed this book, but I think this is kind of a turn in the series that some people won't like, but I loved it, and I still plan on finishing this series. I really do. I really enjoy it. Then two books in November of 2017 were really good. I enjoyed both of them, and they are again from favorite authors within favorite series, things like that. So the first one was Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch, the second book in the Gentleman Bastard series. This is a series that I haven't yet continued, but I've always planned to. I have the third book on my shelf. It's just I want a release date for The Thorn of Emberlane before I read the third book. So this is the second book. I can't believe it was 2017. It was 2 years ago that I read this. So part of me is like, by the time The Thorn of Emberlane comes around, should I just like reread the whole series? I don't know. I don't know. That's not what this video is for. But this is about my favorite dumb thieves who love each other because they're best friends. They have the best bromance of all time. Jean and Locke. I love them so much. And they are involved in like pirate life in this one. They're on a pirate ship for most of it, and it's great. It's one of the only pirate books that's actually good. I love it. Even though this is not a pirate series, there's pirates in here, and it just gave me all of the pirate feelings. So good. During that same round, I read Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I told you that Brandon Sanderson pops up a few times in my favorites for past Tome Topples. This is a standalone and Brandon Sanderson's first book, and people had always told me, and I said even in my wrap-up of when I read this originally, people are always like, oh, it's his first book, it's not as good, blah, blah. I loved this. This is one of my favorites of the ones that I've read of his. Again, I haven't read a ton of his books. Like, of all of the books that he's written, I've read like a third or a fourth maybe, but I really liked this. I liked the setting of this. This is about Elantris, which is a city that the Elantrians have sort of been cast away into, because Elantrians used to be people that had these like godlike magical powers, and then one day they woke up and were basically almost like cursed, and they were like basically dying. They were like drained of their magic, and they were immortal still, but like could be hurt, and it was just awful. So I really liked the characters in here. There's a romance that I think is pretty good, and both of the characters are like good people and stuff, and I liked the antagonist relationship that happens in here. There's like the dynamic there. Again, it's not a relationship like a romantic relationship. It's just like the dynamic between the antagonist and the characters is interesting too. And I just enjoy this way more and the characters way more than some of the characters that he's written in more recent books, for example. So if you have put off Elantris because you think it's going to be completely crap and you do like reading Sanderson, give it a go, because I really do enjoy Elantris a lot for as much shit as people talk about it. Then in November of 2018, again, where does time even go? I can't believe I read this book a year ago. This is what I need to go on like a little side tangent after my dog just shook and, you know, there's like a tambourine in the background. But I need to go on a side tangent about how, like, I always say I want to like get through series and read them quickly, and I'm going to read the next book in the series soon and blah blah blah. Where does time even go? I don't feel like I read this book that long ago, and I obviously did. I'm just like, what? And I hope after my TBR gets down, I know I talk about it all the time, and I'm just extra sad because the last 2 months I haven't really been able to read my TBR, so I'm like extra sad about it. But I do plan on like not quite binging series and reading them back to back, but maybe reading one book from a series each month to like get through those series or catch up on them, because I have so many series that I love and want to catch up on, as discussed a lot in this video, and I haven't yet because and time just goes so fast. How is time even real? I mean, I know it's like technically a social construct, but like what? But the book I'm having an emotional breakdown over is Calibans War by James S.A. Corey. This is the second book in the Expanse series. I love this series. It's a massive space opera type series that I just can't even fully tell you everything. It's multiple POV story. It's within our galaxy. Solar system. I've gotten people yelling at me before when I use space terms because I love space, but I'm not smart about space. Like, I use all these things interchangeably. I'm just like, space is space. And people are like, no, it's not. And they get really mad at me. And I was like, this is why I don't read hard sci-fi. But there's all of these people in spaceships. Sorry, this is making it sound so stupid. There's just a lot going on. It's a space opera. There's like an alien virus, possibly aliens coming that make like basically zombies. It reminds me a lot of Mass Effect because there's like Husk-like and almost Reaper-like enemies. There's political intrigue. There's a lot going on with like planetary relations and stuff like that. And then there's action, but it's not super like military battle focused action because I can't do stuff like that. And there's good relationships and multiple POV, I think I mentioned. So I really love this series. I have a third book on my shelf. I might be reading it for this year's Tome Topple. We'll see. But I love this. I love this series and I'm looking forward to continuing it. Story of my life. I think there's like 6 books out in the series and they're chunks. And lastly, from earlier this year, we have Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I want to get a finished copy because this is an ARC edition that I have that I read. But this is a story that follows a thief, a sort of like mad scientist-y type magician, and a like lawful good type. He's sort of a policeman, but like not, within this world where the magic is more inscribing symbols onto objects to then make them magical and do things. And it's very intricate. A lot of people have described it as almost like magical coding for like computers and stuff. But this, I loved the world here. I loved, because it almost had like a steampunk feel to it, even though it's not steampunk, but it had that kind of feel. There's also like merchant guilds that like control everything, so there's that like political aspect of it. The like myth and stuff wrapped in, and then just the characters and how all the characters are kind of like tropes, because it's like, you know, you have like the lawful good character, you have the thief, you have the like mad magician, but they kind of spin those tropes on their heads a bit and have a little bit of fun with them and are really cool, fun characters. So I really loved this and I definitely plan on continuing this series. The second book is coming out in 2020. So maybe I can catch up on other series in the meantime. Probably not. Some of you are probably going to drag me in the comments about it, but I like to try. I like to try. So these are my all-time favorites that I've read during a Tome Topple. Comment down below and let me know if you've participated in Tome Topple before and what some of your favorite books you've read during previous Tome Topples have been. So thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.